Go forward? Okay. Thank you. That's a short piece that I do on my, that we sell to our clients and tell them what we do. I'll just kind of tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in advertising for like about 20 years. I come from Detroit. I started at a high school like this with a great professor that you have, who's Dr. O, Mr. O, and I think I had a professor over at my school at Cass Tech in Detroit, and we had a very amazing art program like this. So when I met Mr. O at an event, I said I have to come here and meet you guys and share some of my thoughts about when you leave this high school, because high school is an important part of what I was trying to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do other than I knew that I loved art and I loved the passion of developing art. And so what had happened is as I, when I graduated from Cass Tech and then I went over to Michigan State University, I just got excited about developing my career in art. But like right here now, you guys are probably thinking about where you're going to go to college and things like that. But the most important thing is to develop your craft as much as possible. It's hard to say because when you're doing illustrating and painting and drawing and digital work and things like that, you don't know exactly where to position yourself. But nowadays, with art being so more stretched out, where you're using digital components and you're doing programming, and then you're bringing your art into existence, it becomes an even more diverse place for you to do beautiful work. And so things can be seen digitally as well as being seen on walls. So, excuse me. So after I left Michigan State, I had a wonderful professor over there, and he got me an internship at CBS Records, Sony Music. And I was fortunate. I was able to actually design CD covers and music covers for a number of years for a number of big artists. Back in the day, these are old school people, but Sound of Philadelphia. And so with Teddy Pendergrass and the OJs and things like that. So I did that when I was like 18 years old. And so I had not graduated from Michigan State, so I did that internship and I loved it. Hindsight being 2020, I probably should have stayed in New York. They asked me to stay in New York, but I don't know why I didn't do it. But anyway, I just like going to the university, so I went back to Michigan State, and I was in a class, and in that class, I did some beautiful things, and we had a art show at the end, and I had some of the music covers that I did at the class show, and everybody was really happy about it. I think also too, you got to be concerned also too with people told me. I think I had a professor that told me at Michigan State. She said you're never going to be a good designer or artist. I don't think you'll ever make it. And then when I got the job at CBS and I came back and I showed my work at the show, she was like in shock. So don't believe what people say about your work. In spite of them not giving you the ultimate rewards on your work, you need to work very hard on your craft and make it better and continue to do that. It's kind of funny. I like that commercial that's out right now for Gatorade with a ball player that plays for OKC. He tells everybody, don't do what they do, you do what you do. And that's your key to success as an artist. Do what you do, don't do what people say. So then after that, I came back to LA, and then I went to New York, and then I came to Los Angeles, and then I was fortunate enough to work at EMI Music over there on Vine and Vine Street, and I forgot the name of the other street over there. But anyway, I worked over there for a number of years, worked on a lot of projects, and then I saw my work was really good, so I decided maybe start my own company. So I started 1124 Design, and as a side job, and I got fired from EMI. They told me, they saw an ad I ran about my company, and they said, "Why are you doing freelance here?" And they said, "Well, I'm just trying to make some extra money." Well, you can't do that. You're fired. So I didn't like it, but at the end of the day, they actually helped me, because sometimes, you know, you're so talented in the art that you do that sometimes full-time jobs can't keep you. Sometimes you got to express your ideas far beyond, you know, when you're working for somebody full-time. I mean, full-time's a good job, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying that in terms of your aspirations in life, sometimes you want to go beyond that, and some things you only can express yourselves that you can't do in a full-time position. So then I started 1124 Design, and then from there on I met Spike Lee after he did a movie called She's Gotta Have It. And he liked my work, and I had worked on another movie by a good friend of mine at Warner Brothers called The Color Purple. And so when I did that for Warner Brothers, they were really excited, and Spike saw my work, and then after that Spike said, you know, you got to work for me. So then I started, and I did School Days with Spike. And when I say did, I designed the poster. I was doing just mostly movie posters. That's all I was doing, and I enjoyed it. And after that, I did School Days. I did Do the Right Thing. I did Jungle Fever. I did Malcolm X. I did Clockers. I did Girl 6. I did New Jack City. I did. When I say did, I designed it. I mean, I'm talking from the concept, from the bottom up. I came up with sketches and ideas, and hired the photographer, and we put the images together and presented them to the client. We do them as color comps, they call them. And then I did, New Jack City, Minister Society, the Hughes Brothers, and then I continued working on more Spike's movies. Work with HBO and work with Coke and some other people. So that's kind of a nutshell of what I've done in my past, but I'm here to really answer your questions and see, you know, how I can help you in terms of giving you some solid information on how to improve your craft, improve what you do. And you know, it's better to do it now than to do it later. So I have a portfolio I brought down there, but I think we can look at that later, and I bought some samples of some of the movie posters that I did for Red Tails is there. And I bought some samples of some of my work. If you guys want me to sign some of my posters, I got a little small thing that I can sign it and keep some of the work. But if you have any questions that you want to ask me, I'll be glad to answer them if you'd like.
Question over, is that
Yes.
Genesis?
Yeah.
Genesis.
So like, when did you realize that you were an artist? Like that you would call yourself an artist?
I think I remember I was an artist when I got an award. When you guys get honored at events and somebody sees your work and they really, like a lot of people like what you're doing, the art, then you start to realize that what you're doing is, one, very good, and a lot of people like it. And when you start to see a lot of people liking your work, that's a good sign telling you that you are an artist, whether you want to accept it or not. If you want to be another position, you know, that's up to you. But I noticed I was an artist when people started to like my work, and then when I got an award for a scratchboard drawing that I did, I said, maybe, my mother was telling me, and she said, well, you know, Art, I think you should pursue art, because, you know, a lot of people like what you're doing a good job, and you're very talented. And then I just started to pursue that career more and more, try to get better and do more of it. But that's people liking your work. I mean, it doesn't have to be about people liking your work, but I think it has something to do when people acknowledge your work and say, it's very good. How did you, that's a beautiful idea. That's a wonderful painting. It's a beautiful drawing. That's a beautiful digital idea. It's a great idea. And then I think at that point, then you need to make a decision between yourself do I want to pursue a career in art? And whether that's going to be in design, or whether that's going to be as a fine artist, or whether it's going to be like the gentleman here, like if it's going to be doing comic book sketches and those kinds of directions, and you pick the decide, and you start to work very hard on developing that and getting it where you want it to be.
How would you maintain a relationship with all the people that you work with?
How did I maintain my relationship with them? Here's the thing. I think it's really important as an artist that you not only improve your craft and what you do, but it's important that you learn business. And I think when I say business, understanding how to do business with clients, that's one of the key things to making yourself a better artist, I think, or improve your visibility. Now you have social media with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where you can actually show your images more, and people can be more acknowledged. But I think you have to be more social media driven. But I also think you need to have somebody be by your side, and because somebody's going to ask you, hey, I want you to do some artwork for me for an idea, something that I have. How much are you going to charge to do that? That's important that you try to, there's a book out called The Artist Guild. There's a book out about the pricing structure for what to charge clients. I think it's good to get that book. In a bookstore, you can buy it online, and it'll tell you what to charge people for your services. And I tell clients, okay, I'm going to charge you this much money for this art I'm going to do for you, or illustration, or whatever it's going to be, and I'm using that the Artist Guild pricing structure. And then you give them the price that you're going to use. I mean, sometimes you have clients that don't say, well, I never hired anybody before, and I don't know what to charge, so would you tell me? And then you tell them a number, and then they say, oh, that's too high, I don't want to spend that. So I think also, too, is a good idea is to ask a person you're going to work for on the business side what your work is like. What kind of budget are you thinking about for your project? And let them tell you what they want to pay. And then you can decide from there, if it's too cheap, or if it's, or if you need to charge them more money, or if it's the right number. So those are my thoughts. I think you need to have a strong background or develop your area in business, art business, and business administration on how you, as an artist, grow so you can take, because once clients are happy with your price structure and the work that you're doing, they'll come back to you again and again. At the end of the day, you're making a friendship with people you're doing business with that builds your reputation as an artist. So you want to continue to work with them more and more, and by doing that, by price structuring correctly, I think you'll get a lot of work, you'll get more work, and be happy about where your career is going.
Why did you name your company 1124?
1124 Design is I come from a Christian background, and was a member over at Crenshaw Christian Center. So there was a Bible verse that I liked called Mark chapter 11 verse 24. And so I was trying to figure out what I was going to name my company, and I didn't want to come up with a name that didn't mean anything. So I wanted to use my Christian background, so I used Mark chapter 11 verse 24 and named it 1124 Design. And I thought that all my ideas come from, I thank God for all my ideas and everything. He helped build my company, so I thought it was a good way to name my company.
How do you keep your private life and professional life balanced and separated?
That can be difficult to do in the beginning, but I think what is your pleasure of your life is the pleasure of your life and what you do. But when you're talking business with clients, that's a separate look. I mean, that's a separate ideal. I keep them separate because I know when somebody wants to do business with me or the company, I keep it very business oriented. What do you want? How much do you know? What am I trying to do? What's the deadline? Here's the estimate. And I keep it focused on the business side of getting the work done and delivering on time. It's kind of funny, you know, when I go to events and screenings of films, when they have like parties, you know, when they have parties at the end of a screening of a movie, I don't, it's hard for me to, you know, I don't drink at parties because I'm so focused on trying to meet new business people at the party. I don't care about me. I just want to meet people and pass out my business card and get more work. So it's hard for me to like shake hands and, you know, drink and, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? You know, but I mean, you know, but here again, you know, the fun thing about our business, when you talk about the private and the pleasure, there is a mixture at one point, you know, so you have to find the mixture there, but I'm kind of bad at that. I'm just not. I go to meetings when it's supposed to be just, you know, and then people say, you know, just relax, all right, don't ask us about how much it's going to cost. If you have a job with me, let's talk about what I like to do and things. So there is a mixture of it, but I think the best thing is to just keep it more focused on the business and keep your pleasure like separate from your business.
Can you discuss a challenging assignment that you had that upon completion of it or after it was over or moved beyond that point, you felt that you were not as successful at it as you really wished you were or could have been, and what you learned